Well, howdy folks, and welcome to another adventure. I'll be exploring southern Utah, southeast Nevada, and who knows what else we'll get into. Maybe even a special guest or two along the way. I got down here to one of my favorite areas last night and just hanging out, taking it easy. And if you'll notice behind me, we have our first special guest who has returned to towing duties. That's right. Our trusty steed, Silver, is now in the driver's seat. Yeah, looking forward to seeing how she does in front of the Voyager trailer. Now, had to go over a few passes last night with her, and she did well. Got about 10 miles per gallon, fully loaded with 36 gallons of water and all my gear. She's a classic. She just keeps going, over 200,000 miles now. Sarah and the girls are back at home visiting with family who's flown in for a few weeks, and so that gave me a big window to get out here and see some cool stuff with you guys. So ride along. But first, let me show you what we're looking at here. All right, well, we've made it to another favorite spot on our way to southeast Nevada. Unfortunately, someone got here before I did, so we'll cook some dinner, and then hopefully the favorite feature of this spot will be free. Super fast dinner, New York strip, shiitake mushrooms. And this is what having an enclosed cabin is all about. When it's too cold out there, you get to hide out in here. That right there is the medicine I need. Well, I had hoped to end my day in the hot springs, and some very self-centered individuals have camped right on top of it. There's boxes and crap strewn all over the place. I don't know what they're doing. So rather than just sit here, I'm going to go find a new camp. This isn't how I wanted this trip to start. That's real life. Sometimes it just happens that way. Let's go find camp at 8:30 at night. Should have aired down for this. All right, well, take two. Old house shoes. Warmest thing around camp I've found. And comfortable. The breeze is getting a little chilly out there. I'm still not feeling great, so I'm gonna have breakfast in here where it's nice and toasty. Going with the small Brew Trek Overlander today. I can drink straight from this thing as opposed to the big base camp. Let's see how we did. Oh yeah. All right, breakfast is done. Got a few things taken care of, but one thing I've always been curious about around this volcano is there's a hot spring up top that I saw last time I was here. So I'm gonna circumnavigate the center cone and see if I can get it top somehow. Already there's like this massive eagle nest. That thing is no joke, 5 feet across. So I'm assuming that's a golden eagle that's been making its nest up there. But this is a cool spot. Lots of artifacts around here too. Lots of old blue mason jars that are broken. So this was a popular stop for somebody at some point in time. Alright, well I haven't found the actual spring, but I found one of them, and it's just a warm, moist crevice. Man, that's wild. There's like hot air coming up out of here. If you were to put a tent up here with a little duct going into there, whew, it'd be toasty. This is cool. Wow. And you can see the caldera where the volcano was. One of many in this area. You can see the lava flows going out this direction over there, and then a big one across the way where it all heaved up, and then another huge one over there. It's really surreal because as I'm walking along the side of this, I'll get these wafts of wet, warm air, but I haven't found primary source yet. I'm trying not to kick a rock down onto the Forerunner because it's right there. Look at that. Definitely warm air coming out of here too. It's like so light. I wonder what's down there. Now, I don't know about you, but this stuff just fascinates me. It's just incredible. I like to imagine what it must have been like to be right here when all this activity was taking place. What would have been going through someone's mind, seeing this mound of molten rock and boulders tumbling up out of the ground. It's just wild. And the fact that there's still heat coming out of it You're standing on top like, is this thing going to go again? Oh, and side note, I am solo, so I'm carrying my SOS device in my pocket. I actually have cell signal here, so it's not that big of a deal, but just a word to the wise, it's easy to start wandering away from camp and get further and further away and not have either one. So if you have any inkling that you're going to walk away from camp, solo especially, it's a good idea to bring it with you, because I didn't get it on camera, but I took a pretty good fall. Landed pretty close to a boulder. Thankfully I caught it on my shoulder and not my head, so it was a good reminder. Definitely gonna leave a bruise. we might have found camp and several old mines. I'll walk up this hill real quick and see what's going on. Oh, wow. Almost didn't see this one.
I am fairly well now, I am strong, I am goodbye, I'm a long way from home. I am an orchard at the start of spring, I am a mockingbird, I love to sing, and I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna fly. I am an old road walking on my feet, I am laughing neath the weeping willow tree, I am a dog barking, a honeybee sting, I ain't no angel but I've got my wings, I'm gonna fly, I'm gonna fly.
All right, folks. Well, for dinner tonight, keeping it simple, and got some pre-marinated chicken skewers and some more of those mushrooms from the previous night. Might even throw in some peppers just for a little color. Should be pretty quick though. Let's jump in. turn the heat on and get our meat on. All right. It's not steak, but it'll work. It's always hard when you're trying to feed just one person. So a lot of the pre-marinated meats and things like that are really handy. If you have a vacuum sealer at home, get your steak packs, whatever, cut them up, split them up, vacuum seal them, and then you've got a pretty good portion ready to go. And there's some mix of veggies, whatever you fill them, or not fill them. There's nothing wrong with just eating a steak. It's actually not bad. Chipotle chicken. It'll work. In a bit of a hurry this morning, which I try to avoid, but it's all for a good cause. Headed down to Southeast Nevada to meet up with a good friend. You've seen him before. He's been a huge part of making this channel happen. So let's pound pavement and go meet up with my good friend Keith. I'll tell you what, I love this West Desert. You get the sweeping plains with all kinds of views. You get the mining history, and then you get these little mountain ranges that just kind of pop up sporadically all over the place. It's just got a unique feel to it, and it's great for this time of year because the primary roads are flat enough that if you did get dumped on with a lot of snow or ice, you still got a fighting chance. It's not like being up in the mountains where you're just gonna hole up till spring. This is my second time out here, and I'm falling in love with it every time that I come, so probably be seeing more of this on the channel. There's also signs of some wild Mustangs out here. I'm hoping we'll see one. And we do have a bit of a Christmas tree this morning. That's because the long range tank threw a code again, so I'll have to reset that in a bit. All right, let's focus on the trail, get down the road, and get this adventure started. Right along. Well, I was wondering why it was taking so doggone long, and poor compressor sounded so sick. It's because I ran Starlink all night last night up on the roof rack, and Silver doesn't have the fancy lithium auxiliary power yet, so that AGM was just almost flat by this morning. Then you turn the compressor on before it's had time to charge, and of course it's going to struggle. So link the batteries, rock and roll. Got a plan for fixing that though. I do have a SAE extension cord, and there's a SAE port up on top of the trailer that ties into the 200 amp hours of lithium power on the trailer. I think I'm just going to extend that over to the Starlink. That way I can run it all night without messing with the auxiliary power on Silver here. So we'll be up and running here in a minute. Just got a message from Keith anyhow, and he said he's running late, so no hurries. What a pretty day. While having 25 extra gallons of fuel on board this rig is incredible, it does come with a few quirks to work around on occasion. With a mostly empty auxiliary tank, the factory evap system test thinks there's a leak due to all that extra volume in the system. So from time to time we have to clear code to return traction control back to operation. Now, I'm honestly not sure why an evap leak warrants less traction from Toyota, but that's the cards we've been dealt. No real complaints here though. This is an easy fix and totally worth it for a huge jump in range from the long range tank. All clear. Traction control restored. Oh, Silver. Quick little stop for a hamburger just to save time. All right, well done, Wendy's. So one thing I want to touch on really quick before I get back to high-speed travel is whenever you're towing a trailer like this, like in a 4Runner or a GX, I always go into sport mode because it gives you far more control over those shift points. And you know, a lot of folks who are new to this, they end up complaining because it just feels like their 4Runner, especially if it hasn't been re-geared, it's just hunting and hunting and hunting for that power. So switching into sport mode makes a big difference. And then honestly, simply slowing down, like just don't be in a hurry, makes a big difference. Just dropping 5 miles under the speed limit, you're going to save a lot of fuel. You're not going to feel like it's working so hard if you have the time. Well, I just made a mistake. I was watching the map, knew I had a left turn coming up, saw tire tracks going to the left. I mean, I was right on top of the turn. So I followed the tire tracks up this wash. And I get about a mile up this wash and just happen to look at the map again, and the wash is not the trail. So I am carefully picking my way backwards, which is fun in these boulders because it wants to push the trailer around. But it's easy to do. I've done it a handful of times. So word to the wise, double check that map after a couple hundred yards of going down what you think is the right trail, because sometimes it's not. You got a pretty barren side of the bank over here and a fairly wide spot. So I'm going to try one of our tricks for turning trailers. Still tight. The nice part is we can jackknife this trailer at a pretty good angle. Alright, disaster averted. Now let's go see where in the heck this turnoff is at. Alright, so here's where we made the left turn. So there should be another trail. Ha! Look at that. Boy, I did not see that. It was raised. That bank was just high enough. It looked like it just kept going straight. All these tire tracks going left, must be the trail. It happens. Into Mordor. Alright, well, we've made it to the meetup spot, or thereabouts. There's some little roads running out into these mines, so it's going to take a little hike on foot here and see if there's any cooler spots to camp. While I was scouting for nearby camps with the drone, I saw Keith come into view about 2 miles out and switched to maximum zoom to see if he would be fooled by the wash. Yep. Thankfully, he was in radio range, so I was able to stop him before he made the same mistake. Oh, and I also told him he was lucky I wasn't carrying a Hellfire missile on this drone, or he would have been easy pickings. I've always said the drones are for more than just videos. Here's the same shot at 1x zoom. Pretty impressive, huh? right, meetup complete. Keith's gonna take his truck and go scout a couple things that I saw on the drone as potential camps. But yeah, let's find camp. That sounds good. I'll start heading that way.
Okay, head that way, and then there are a couple more roads back here I'm going to go run down and check out just to see if I find anything better, but I'll meet up with you at the sign.
Perfect. Sounds good. Come on, old girl. This is really cool. I hate comparing places to other places, but I can't help it sometimes. It has a very Death Valley, Echo Canyon kind of feel to it.
So make a right at the sign.
All right.
Yeah, this is it, man.
This is like Joshua Tree level kind of stuff right here.
And nobody around. This whole area is pretty epic.
Gosh, look at this. Look at this. This is what we're after, folks. This is why we do this stuff. Oh my gosh. What a cathedral. This would be nice in the wind too.
Heck yeah.
Not that I'm worried about that anymore, but it's always in your mind, you know?
Yep.
Dang. Well,
Beautiful.
this is a great start.
Beautiful.
Dang. Well, I just noticed one of my lights went bye-bye. I think it's down in there somewhere. All right, time to get camp set up. You ready for this? Camp is done. Well, that's pretty much it. Toiletry bag hung up, iPad for movies. No baby bed, so just all kinds of room for my junk. Oh, we got the induction going on here.
I do. We're all electric, baby.
You're all electric, saving the earth.
That's right. Yeah. Never mind, and we won't talk about the
Don't talk
fuel
about this.
we burn to get out here, but everything else all electric.
Now, you're offsetting your carbon footprint.
That's right. Yeah, we're carbon neutral. Oh, too funny.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Looky there. It's almost cheese time.
So tell me again how many amp hours you've got?
6 kilowatt hours or 460 amp hours.
Jeez.
So it's a lot.
How much solar up top?
320 watts up top.
Nice.
And right now, let's see what we're drawing. So we're pulling down 961 watts.
Okay.
So yeah, the inverter's working.
The future.
That's right.
Oh man,
Check it
that's
out.
cooked to perfection. Right there.
Good stuff.
That's a man sandwich there.
That's right.
After a long, tiring day of mostly pavement travels, we got our first real taste of southern Nevada. And if this camp is any indication of what it's going to be like in this region, then we've struck proverbial gold in the views department. After a quick breakfast of frosted wheat and topo brew coffee, we took some time to explore the surrounding oddities on foot. With nearly 2 weeks of explorations ahead of us, we were in no hurry to make miles for the sake of making miles, which has definitely been our modus operandi for the past several years. But this season, I'm really interested in slowing the pace and letting my curiosity lead me down some proverbial bunny trails to really immerse myself in the landscape instead of watching it fly past in the rearview mirror. Wow, there's tracks in here. Something's been coming in here and like hanging out.
Stuff?
Its own little home. Maybe a bobcat.
This will be a pretty big.
What? Crazy.
Pretty cool how fast it is.
That's
too,
wild. Scrambling over these hills and through these washes, it never ceases to amaze me what could be on the other side of the hill or behind that next bend. And today, our efforts on foot were being rewarded with some impressive petroglyphs and stunning sandstone formations. There's just some things you can't see from the seat of a rig. I'm also trying to focus more on my physical and mental health by being more active on foot and more present in the moment instead of trying to check off that next section of trail. Honestly, I didn't have any big expectations for this trip. I just wanted to branch out and explore some new areas of the Southwest. But if our first taste of this region is any indication as to what it has in store, then we were about to be blown away. Oh, and spoiler alert, you'll want to stay tuned for what's next. So apparently this was some sort of sandstone mining operation, I guess for decorative purposes. I've never seen one for sandstone. Maybe that's why it didn't last very long. We are on the trail. Simple little breakfast this morning and some coffee. Played in the rocks a bit, checking out some of these wild sandstone formations. And now we're out to see what else we can get into. This has been an incredible spot. Keith is the master when it comes to sniffing out epic spots. There's one thing you gotta know when you're running with Keith. That is skinny pedal, skinny pedal, skinny pedal. Definitely putting the trailer suspension to the test today. What's a little bit interesting or scary is that this 4Runner rides so good. It just floats across. I'm going over nasty stuff right now, and it's just like, so you have to remember there's a trailer back there. But I have to say, I'm watching this thing, and it's just, where we going? Where we going, Silver? Where we going, Silver? I'm pretty impressed. After stumbling across one of the most incredible sandstone formations I'd ever seen, we decided it would be the perfect place for a quick lunch while we took a closer look. Now, when traveling with friends, it's inevitable that inside jokes will eventually develop over the miles and through the shared challenges. Seeing Keith with his massive sandwich reminded me of one of my favorite moments from the archives. What you got for lunch?
Turkey ham sandwich on homemade jalapeno sourdough.
Sourdough. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's delicious.
And no Charlie around the scarf.
That's right, yeah. I got the sandwich all to myself.
Cue the flashback. And when I say whipping us up some sandwiches, I mean myself and Charlie, the Labradoodle pup.
Hey! You! I told you. God!
It was delicious, wasn't it, boy?
I don't have to share.
Unfortunately, it was too early in the day to stop for camp, but I definitely put this site down for future reference and snapped a couple photos for the wall collection before packing down the Bush Company awning. By the way, this 270 Max has pretty much changed my mind on standalone style awnings, and now I won't hesitate to deploy it for a quick stop, even in a stiff breeze.
It's a little faster than the 23-0.
Yeah. I'm not worried about a gust of wind taking it back.
Right.
Oh, and if it's not obvious by now, this trailer has quickly spoiled me too with its speedy setup and pack down. I've been doing my best not to come across like a total fanboy, but sometimes you just gotta give credit where credit's due. Anyhow, back to the trail. A few miles down the road, we finally spotted our first wild Mustang, who, honestly, wasn't too wild at all. After his impromptu photo shoot, he demonstrated how stud, or male horses, will poo in an existing pile to mark their territory and to let rival studs know that, he means business. You know how some trails are just brutal? This has been one of them. Just a grind. Thankfully, it's been worth it. There's been some spots in here that are just fantastic. Right now, we're making our way back to pavement. Gonna hop on for about 7 or 8 miles and then reset into another area of BLM wilderness and continue exploring. But this is awesome. I wasn't expecting this. I did not have high expectations for this area, but it has exceeded them big time. This might be working its way up the favorite list just a little bit. No sooner than we hit dirt again, our route became questionable, with a big sign warning us of imminent danger due to a live target range. Now clearly, this was not an official notification, so we took a few minutes to scratch our heads. Yeah, I think because they got a berm right there.
Yeah.
So I think it's because it goes that way.
You can see, it looks like maybe a long-range target right over there. I don't know. The tracks that I have go down this road.
It's definitely not a government sign.
No.
After a bit of deliberation, we decided to ease into the area and soon found that the sign was indeed for the old trail. We would not need to worry about dodging live fire. It didn't take long though before the trail narrowed and made for some interesting maneuvers to wind the 4Runner and trailer combo down something that's probably more suited for side-by-sides and ATVs. But I was yet again impressed with how well the new trailer was doing in spite of the washouts and off-camber sections. My only regret was not taking more time to film the obstacles, but night was coming on fast and we still had a ways to go to make camp.
Just hold right there for a second. Let me get around this next turn.
I'm not filming a third of it, not a quarter of it. This trail is awesome.
Section, huh?
Finally, we hit a wider wash, and we were able to pick up speed and soon pulled into what appeared to be another magnificent camp. While Keith scouted out a couple more options of the area, I happened to catch some movement on the horizon and spotted a mother desert bighorn sheep with a couple lambs playing around overhead. As I've mentioned a few times, this season we're answering popular questions and sharing more of the nitty-gritty parts of camp life. So this time around, let's cover showers. While there are several permanently mounted privacy tent options out there that set up in just a few seconds, for colder weather, we prefer this pop-up tent by Rest Stop purely because it's a small and closed space, which makes for a hot, steamy shower experience without losing all the heat out of the open top styles. This is a huge advantage for cold weather showers, but without going into too much detail, be forewarned that this strategy can backfire when using it for other purposes. All right, well, if you can't tell, it's that time. I think I'm going on about 4 days right now. And Yeah, especially with this warm weather, it is time. So I'll see you in a minute, feeling a little bit fresher. Much better. After a refreshing hot shower, it was time to whip up a meal I'd been looking forward to for a few days now. Camp smash burgers. This will be my first time trying these at camp, but for starters, we'll throw a little seasoning into the mix. I like to use pink Himalayan salt, black pepper, garlic powder, and some smoked paprika. Then you mix it all up, roll it into balls, and get ready to smash. You'll want a super hot griddle so the outside quickly sears and locks in the juices. I was a bit impatient tonight and didn't get it as hot as I like, but when you're hungry and trying to film, things can get overlooked. I also brought along the wrong spatula since the lip of the skillet interfered with the smashing, but a few attempts and blisters later, I got an acceptable result. Now, what makes smash burgers better than regular patties? Well, the internet has plenty of its own opinions, but personally, I like them because you can usually get a nice, crispy crust on the outside, and they cook up really fast as compared to a thicker patty. I also find them far juicier, but you'll just have to try them for yourself to see. I'm well aware that smash burger culture has some strong opinions about how to do things properly, so feel free to comment below on your favorite methods, and I'll give them a try next time around. All right, let's see. A lot of work. After a delicious, hard-earned burger, it was time for another chore we haven't talked about much, but get a lot of questions on, and that is doing dishes. When in the wilderness, especially in the desert, water is a precious commodity. So I like to start with about a quart of extra soapy, extra hot water in a basin and begin with the cleanest, least greasy dishes first. This keeps the water cleaner longer and the grease from spreading to the other collection of dishes. I also like a good bristle brush since the desert air quickly dries food particles and it can get tough to scrub off after sitting for a few minutes. Once scrubbed clean, I carefully rinse the soap off using the tiniest flow of water so that it gradually fills the sink for the larger, more messy dishes without depleting the water supply too much. All the dishes get stacked wet elsewhere so I can use the water while it's as hot as possible. Finally, we try to carry a couple of good drying towels and alternate every day so one is always mostly dry. After wiping any food bits into the sink, I drain it all into a collapsible basin, which I can carry away from camp and far enough away from any streams to prevent contamination. This is also handy in bear country because it keeps your food smells at a minimum by tossing it far from your camping area. Now maybe all this seems like common sense to you, but we've had a ton of questions about this over the years and wanted to cover a process that is really different in the wilderness than it is compared to home where you have limitless water supply. All right, well, that's a wrap for today. Excellent, delicious smash burgers for dinner. Had a little Kit Fox stroll right into camp. Hung out for a minute. I barely caught his tail end as he was making his way back out of camp, so that was pretty special. And this is a fantastic campsite, so I can't wait to get up and check it out in the morning. Awesome day. All right, let's get some sleep. Do it all again tomorrow. All right, well, good morning, folks, and welcome to another day. Peaceful night of sleep and waking up to this spectacular cathedral of sandstone with the smells of bacon frying. It doesn't get much better. It'd be better if the grills were here, but it's still pretty dang good. And speaking of the girls, if you're new here, we usually travel as a family on these adventures, but this time around, I'm flying solo, since they've been visiting with family for several weeks before our spring travels begin. Thankfully, with my Starlink satellite internet setup, I've been able to stay in touch with them while on the move, and even have the ability to video chat with my wife Sarah and daughters Caroline and Abigail from camp.
Yeah.
With a tasty breakfast in our bellies, we took a few minutes to explore around camp and see if we could spot any of the bighorn sheep that had been our neighbors the night before.
It's a neat area, man.
It is so cool. Even for a Utahan, it's like,
Yeah.
it's like, wow.
While the elusive desert inhabitants had long since departed, we were still mesmerized by the vibrant sandstone formations, and even found a few additional campsites for future reference. Oh, and by the way, these points are available to our supporters on Patreon if you're ever interested in following in our tracks. With our curiosity temporarily satisfied, we hit the trail and headed towards some rumored petroglyphs, but our route got a bit questionable before we had gone very far.
Snapping a picture real quick right here.
Sounds good. These are cool rocks, man.
Since Keith was in the single rig format, he was scouting ahead to make sure there were no issues for the trailer. He had taken a more direct route up this wash, while I had swung wide trying to pick him up on the radio. From my entry point, I spotted a sign that wasn't as visible from his path and called a halt until we could decipher what it meant.
I got a no motorized vehicle sign back here.
Son of a...
We erred on the side of caution, even though the signage had us scratching our head when compared to the map and obvious travel path.
Well, that was a false start. Clearly, this wash gets driven all the time. But sign says no motorized vehicles, so no motorized vehicles it is. Unless they mean the terrain next to the wash. Yeah, man, it's so hard to tell, like, the way they have those signs posted, if they mean, like, not on the rocks, or if they mean not in the wash.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a frickin' wash, man. You know, one rainstorm, it's all gone.
Exactly. Nobody wants to be that one guy they finally make an example of, though.
Yep, for sure.
I think we later determined that the signs were indeed trying to protect the surrounding rocks and vegetation, but sadly it appeared the locals could have cared less and had abused some of the areas behind these signs. As travelers who are passionate about our access to public lands, this blatant disregard had our blood pressure rising. We'll always have those folks who don't care, but please help us educate those who don't know. Our access is already under enough attack without adding fuel to the fire. A few miles down the trail, our route got a bit interesting as it changed from a dusty, rocky wash into fluffy red sand. I had been wanting to see how the new trailer could handle a wide range of terrain, and this was exactly what I'd been hoping for. It wasn't long before I had a silly grin on my face while sliding over the swells and dips. But it wasn't long until the smooth, sandy section developed some strange cross-axle corrugations that made progress creep to a halt.
These cross-axle whoops are something else. There's really no good speed because it's too tight. You can't get on top of them, so you got to slow down. And then the trailer, because they're alternating, is just back and forth. Brutal ride.
Unfortunately, it was too tight of a trail for high enough speeds to get us on top of the small oscillating waves without becoming a danger to oncoming traffic. So we just had to find the right cadence and endure the ride as best as possible without rearranging the gear too much. While we'd missed out on some petroglyphs earlier in the day with our unexpected reroute, we came upon another canyon that had been decorated with some of the most interesting designs yet in our Nevada explorations. Honestly, I could sit here for hours and stare at these etchings, trying to decipher what stories these people were trying to record. I've seen hundreds, if not thousands, of these works of art along our 10 years of overland travel, and it's always interesting to see almost identical petroglyph styles nearly 1,000 miles apart. But every now and then, you see something truly unique that leaves you scratching your head and wondering if there really were strange creatures wandering these canyons, or if these were simply recordings of visions they experienced during their dreams. I doubt we'll ever know the full story, but it's fun to attempt to unravel these mysteries. Now it's time to put the pedal down and move into a whole new region before nightfall. But it seemed there would be one more challenge before we returned to pavement. This hill climb over and out of the valley. I don't think the camera picked up on just how steep this climb really was, but it was steep enough for me to engage the front and rear lockers just in case. A slip and stall along this incline in the soft powdery gravel would make for a precarious situation that would not be fun to back out of with the trailer. So I used every preventative measure I had to keep that from happening. While old Silver had no problems most of the way up, I was greeted with a few steps to climb over just before the top. Now a slip at this point would likely require all the braking possible to keep from going back down the hill, so I was ready to lock the trailer brakes in case Keith needed to jump in and winch me up the rest of the way.
Passenger around.
But with only a few spins and grunts from my trusty steed, we crested the rise without any drama. It looks like old Silver earned herself some ethanol-free 88 octane for this performance today. Now it was time to ease down the other side, which was almost just as steep. So I maxed out the brake power to the massive 12-inch brakes on the trailer and carefully eased off the backside of the ridge to make our way to another fuel stop before diving back into the wilderness.
So on this steep descent, I've got my trailer brakes maxed out. I'm manually holding back everything I've got. And then I'm just not letting it run away with me. Just nice and slow. There's not any huge risk. There's no drop-offs or anything like that, which is a big plus. But I don't want to start bouncing down this hill, throwing the trailer over on its side. And then for the ascent, Silver made it look very easy. But the secret sauce is 488 gearing, factory rear locker engaged the whole way, and then ARB front locker engaged on the straightaways. I wouldn't have come up over that rock ledge if it wasn't for that front locker. I can tell you that right now. I've rarely used the front locker, but it's one of those things that when you need it, you absolutely need it. This is fun. Definitely getting a lot of stares from the locals out here. Why are you bringing a trailer on these trails? It's because it's what it's made for. Woo. Progress is halted just after our fuel up. Keith's got some weird noise going on in his front right, so just seeing what that is. Like suspension or what?
I don't know. It's either something under here or something down here. I mean, everything looks good.
Maybe that?
It could be.
Is that yours?
No, this is not mine.
What?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Problem solved.
Always,
and free
exactly.
tools.
Look at that. Hey, that's right. Free screwdriver.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
I like fixes like that. After a boring section of trail that was mercifully fast, we arrived in a new area of explorations and began the arduous task of hunting for camp in the dark.
Camp right up here to the right. Looking like either 2 or 3. We'll get out and check them out.
This'll work.
Do pig. Undo.
Yes, sir.
All right, tonight, keeping it simple, going through the food that I've already got open, so I'm finishing up my second pack of mushrooms, and then brother to the previous ribeye was calling my name, so ribeye again tonight. And for the lettuce, I bought the bag of salad that I used on my hamburger, which I'm now going to make into a salad tonight. So figuring out how to do this one-person cooking stuff, it's working pretty good so far. What's for dinner over here?
We are doing some chicken sausages and pasta, a word that I can't pronounce, with pesto genovese. So,
That's good stuff. I've had that before.
Yes, it's delicious.
Oh, nice.
Very good. Bring this sucker to a boil.
Now, inevitably, we get a comment that says that the meat's not done until the red is gone. And that's simply not true. I grew up believing the same thing, and I never really enjoyed steak. until someone cooked one properly. Rocked my world. Absolutely changed my world. The red is, did some research. It's like hemoglobin or something like that. It's not blood. It's just a natural color that is present in the meat, but it's fully cooked. Fun tip though, carry a digital thermometer. Don't guess on your meat. Know exactly where it needs to be. All right, cameras down, forks and knives up. I'll see you on the other side. Oh, you were wondering how the salad is? Let me tell you. It ain't steak, but it'll work. One last note. That entire meal took about 8 minutes to fix. That's easy. Fire. Looks so cozy over there.
Heck yeah.
With your rope lights and...
Yeah, it's, all the comforts of home. Should work?
That's what we were shooting.
Mm-hmm. Can't think of a better morning for biscuits and gravy.
All right, folks. Well, it is rest day. And yeah, you might be wondering, why do you need rest? You're just out having fun. Well, after 6 days of just bouncing along trail after trail, you do need some downtime. And with the rain having moved in, most of the trails are a muddy, sloppy mess. So it's a great time to hold up, let this rain pass, let things dry out a bit before we continue the adventure. So just trying to get files offloaded onto the computer, get a little bit of rough editing done, and catch up on Patreon messages and things like that. But it's been a welcome pause in this rain, falling on the canvas of the awning out there, just watching all this moodiness, all these clouds coming in and bouncing off these ridges. It's been a peaceful, peaceful day. Exactly what I needed. Hello.
Can you give a big grin? Big. What? Yes, I think that.
All right, folks. Well, wrapping up a lazy, relaxing, rainy camp here. And as always, trying to leave it a little bit better than we found it. But again, immaculate campsites so far, with the exception of this baby shark. Doot, 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 doot. So if you're missing a shark, let us know. And in addition to my usual reminder to leave things better than we found it, there's also a lot of groups out there trying to keep us out of our public lands. It's something to be mindful of. It's something to research. There's a lot of great organizations out there to be a part of that are helping to push back on this issue. One of those is Blue Ribbon Coalition. You can go to sharetrails.org and sign up, mostly to be informed, but also to support them in their fight. But you got to be active. You got to notify your congresspeople, all those that make the laws, and make sure that they know that you want to keep access open. All right, let's hit the trail, see what else we can get into. About ready?
All set.
All right, let's roll. Since our lazy day at camp left us refreshed and a bit antsy to get back to exploration, we spent most of the day ranging out on foot whenever something looked interesting or if the map hinted at some oddity worth investigating. Here's just a taste of what we found.
Should be right around in here somewhere.
Figures here, some circles. Looks like they've done some painting in here as well.
Yeah.
Looks like a Joshua tree or a palm frond.
Oh, yeah.
So we're back to where we started. So dancing in the garden. Underneath the stars, just hoping in our hearts, maybe we'll get it right this time. A feeling I can't explain it. At least I think it's complicated. So the black clouds with the distant sounds encroaching thunder. Here's an
least with the camera you can, poke it all the way up.
That's true. You guys let us know how it looks up there.
Some semblance of hope, or at least something to hold on to.
Wow.
Look at us stopping, seeing sights, not just making miles.
Who says Overlanders don't hike?
So unlike us.
Man. I love the texture. Yeah.
Man, these are probably some of the most impressive panels that I've seen yet. And they're actually pretty well preserved. But for those of you who don't know, never touch them, and definitely never try to etch your name next to them. We'll always have those who don't care, but I'm trying to change it for those who just don't know. Leave it for the future generations. According to Sean, it's an essential part of a good experience.
Oh, okay.
So I figure we'll head over to that little Finland area and find camp over there. Sound good?
Sounds like a plan. Doggone jets always fly over at the wrong time. All right, folks, we have made it to camp yet again, and this is a unique spot. This is really, really cool. Went ahead and got the awning all staked down. You know me, I'm anal when it comes to awnings. I've seen crazy stuff. Had a few bit of breezes earlier today, and just wanted to be ready for whatever might happen, but also want to get that rain running off the fabric and not pulling up and stretching everything out. But I don't often do this, but I've been leaving this awning out all night long, and it's still there when I get up. So pretty doggone impressed so far.
Light her up, yo.
Light her up, yo. Okay. Not too bad.
Not at all. You know, like, this is pretty amazing. You sit here, look at palm trees and a big rock face with cool little fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, because it has to be like the wind, you know, just sweeping that way.
Yeah.
It's just like over time, just swept and created these.
It's so crazy.
I've never seen anything like that. That is so awesome.
All right, for dinner tonight, another quick, easy meal. Just going to do some instant mashed potatoes and a little New York strip that I had set aside. Like I said before, if you have access to a vacuum sealer, this is a game changer for meal prep for your trips. You don't get stuff leaking everywhere. It lasts a lot longer. Super handy. Extra steak seasoning just for some fun. Maybe a little over here too. Oh yeah. Oh, hold up, come back. Alright. Oh yeah, that'll do. Hot. All right, loaded baked potatoes, loaded mashed potatoes. Good stuff. That'll work for dessert. Let's see how these do. All right, that'll work. Got them a little bit hot. I think I saved them. Burn on the bottom, but
It's all good.
delicious on the inside.
It's all that matters.
All right, we'll let Keith give the final verdict. Pick one.
Sounds
there.
good.
It's still warm.
All right. Wow. But they're good.
All right. Welcome to the Nevada desert. Over the past week, I've been exploring this landscape with my good friend Keith. While I'm usually on the trail with my wife and 2 daughters, I've taken the opportunity for an extended guys trip while the rest of the family visits with relatives. This morning, we were fortunate enough to witness a very rare event. Desert rain that not only quenches the parched, thirsty ground, but also waters these palm trees through an intricately woven collection system of sandstone watersheds, gutters, and crevices, directing its life-giving flow straight to the roots. The desert has always been intriguing to me, and this day will forever be etched in my mind as I watch creation at work, perpetuating life in what is usually a dry, unforgiving environment. My sustenance of frosted mini wheats and dark roast coffee paled in comparison to this natural process taking place in front of me.
How are things out there?
Good? You sleep good?
Oh yeah, I slept great. You?
Yeah. Oh man, it was another one of those nights. Just that
Yeah.
pitter patter of the rain.
Nice.
Ooh-wee. There's a huge, well, there still is a huge rainbow right over there.
Yeah, I can see it out the window. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it was like this pocket, and we just keep getting the sun and the rain. Just not
Crazy.
stopping.
All right, well, good morning, folks. We've had our coffee, we've had our cereal, and now we're just casually meandering around this, average campsite. I think we landed on Mars. Actually, this is probably better than Mars. This is insane. Just look at that. How much weight. It's like nature's game of Jenga over here with the balancing acts. Crazy.
Cool to see all this with water on it. You know?
Yeah, it really adds a contrast, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. And it just brings out the colors in the rocks, like the swirls and
Yeah.
everything. You know?
After a peaceful morning wandering around the Martian landscape, the light rain slowed to a stop and the sun began peeking out of the clouds. So we packed up camp to hit the trail again. Nevada had yet again surprised us this morning with its vibrant colors and mesmerizing formations, so we were a little more than anxious to see what else it had up its sleeve.
All right. Well, that was an otherworldly spot. Well, we were able to get off the trails for the worst of the rain. Rain moved through. Now we're back at it again. It's just not of this world.
As we climbed in elevation, the red sandstone gave way to glittering granite, with Joshua trees and cholla cactus dotting the landscape. Up ahead, the map showed some historic mines, so we began making our way to the remnants of a short-lived gold rush town. All right, well, time for a little bit of lunch. We are standing on what was an old town site. Gold was found up in those hills, and as always, there was a gold rush tent city with a few permanent buildings that are just now gone completely. About a 5-year gold rush, and then poof, everybody's gone. And what's left is just small little hints of what was. But what a cool spot. After a quick lunch, we began meandering through the house-sized granite boulders and stumbled upon a stone that had us scratching our heads.
Wow.
We later learned that this is called an arastra, which actually predated the gold mining activity here by about 200 years, when the Spaniards also gave mining a try in this area back in the 1700s. This center pivot would have an axle built with a long arm connected to a heavy rock that could be pulled in circles by a burrow. Chunks of ore were laid in the groove and crushed as the heavy rock rolled or tumbled over the top of it. It was quite the ingenious precursor to the more modern stamp mills that can be found all across the western states. Next, we took a few spur trails out from the town center and found even more mines in the nearby hills, which have been blocked off now with welded grates. This site was apparently in operation in the 1980s to support a nearby gold and silver mine. Historical information is a bit sparse, but it doesn't seem to have been profitable in the long run. Here's a handy tip if you're a mining history buff, prospector, or just a curious rockhound. You can use the Mines and Minerals resource layer in Gaia GPS to see the approximate location of mines along with some very basic data on its primary resource. This area was dotted with gold, silver, uranium, fluorite, mica, copper, vermiculite, radiocrystals, and even more strange minerals I won't attempt to pronounce here. It looks like it was quite the geologic cornucopia back in its heyday. Just remember to check the rules on prospecting and rock collection whenever you're exploring the wilderness, since laws can vary depending on the type of public land you're exploring.
Maybe they planted it out here at the mine.
Wow. Crazy. Wonder if somebody sat here and ate one and then that.
And then it grew.
Wow. Pomegranates in the wild. Who would have thought? This place is just unreal and tight. It's not been used much, so trails have really kind of gotten a little snug. We're threading our way through on the hunt for camp. After poking around several other historic mining sites, it was time to hunt camp, but these trails were very seldom used, and the junipers were beginning to swallow it up. But after a few quick stops for some pruning, we found a sheltered camp just in time for sunset. All right, folks, I believe this is home sweet home for tonight. Finally tucked into some trees this go around. Not so much of an epic camp as a sheltered camp.
but we will take it because we've got some amazing views poking up behind us here. Got these clouds just going nuts on the mountain. Love it. This is spectacular.
So I'm packing up my bags and heading westward, looking for a place to call my own. And I know I could find peace down in the valley. Something about the water calls me home.
That'll work. Oh, right.
Thank you, sir. Wow. It's good bacon, too. Good job.
The trail we had chosen this morning was supposed to lead us back to a primary artery in the area, but about 2/3 of the way in, it was as if this trail had been forgotten. The area was burned by a wildfire back in 2005, and this section of trail looked as if it hadn't been driven much since then. And so the whipsaws and occasional chainsaw was called into action to clear some of the more aggressive limbs, while leaving the rest to leave their signatures alongside our body panels.
If you have any aversion at all to pinstripe,
Man, the trail has just kind of gone to nowhere all of a sudden.
this is not the trail for you. Yeah, it's not good.
No, I got a little tree here to work on.
Thankfully, we only had a couple more miles to go, and aside from this boulder and stubborn pin oak in the way, we made it through without much drama, though the pristine trailer graphics are now thoroughly battle-tested.
right, trying the Tundra out.
Once back to the primary trail, it was my chance to try Keith's Tundra, seeing as how we're in the market for our next rig to be a full-size option. You'll have to subscribe and stay tuned for my thoughts on this second generation Tundra, as well as another test drive coming to the channel where I head north to Alaska and spend some time in the new third gen Tundra along the Dalton Highway. As we made our next big jump to another region, we spotted every long-distance overlander's oasis, a public dumpster, where we quickly disposed of our trash, along with the trash we'd cleaned up from others, which can add up quickly. Now it was time to dive back onto the trail for the final leg of our adventure.
Alone in my apartment, I should have seen the warning sign. Money don't come easy, so most of us are chained to being busy till we can earn a little piece of my mind. What does it mean to be free? To be free in this American dream.
Very nice.
It'll work.
I think this will work.
So there are a couple of flat spots.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Well, we've arrived at yet another spectacular camp. It's almost like we planned this, but I assure you, this has all been happenstance thus far. What a spot. And what a view. Like, look back here. All right, I am going to turn the camera off. I've been filming, and these are the last few days that we've got. So I'm going to turn the camera off, enjoy a hot dinner tonight, and unwind a bit. We'll see you on the other side. Another peaceful, beautiful evening, sitting right here, listening to a great horned owl perched right up there somewhere, talking to us most of the night. Ended up doing a simple dinner, broke out the mountain house, which needs to get eaten because they're like almost 10 years old now. So a little pasta primavera with a little bit of beef sausage just to give it some, time to hit the road. Peaceful rain this morning is what we woke up to. That seems to have slowed down. And these trails are all very rocky, so I don't think we're going to get into any mud situations. So let's continue our trek a little further north. Boy, I just love these peaceful, rainy mornings in the desert. They don't happen very often, but when you get them, the smells coming out of all these different plants is just phenomenal. So Keith and I were just commenting on how impressive a job the BLM has done here in Nevada with all their signage. Over the top. Excellent job, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. There's really no question as to whether or not you're on a legal route. So that's a refreshing experience. I think that a lot of other organizations can take notes because these guys have knocked it out of the park. Wow, those are beautiful.
Stand the test of time.
They really do.
It's like a back patio back here.
Yeah, sure is.
Cool.
Today, we're on a mission to visit a once top-secret location that up until recently was known only to the CIA. This was a destination that had been on Keith's radar for quite some time, and when he shared his idea with me, I agreed that this was an absolute must-visit. So, we began working our way along the BLM trail network to put us within a decent hiking distance of our objective.
We're actually need a locker. Yeah, I'm going to actually put it in high. It seems to grip better when it's in high rather than low.
Several miles in, the trails quickly degraded and grew challenging from lack of use and upkeep, so we were again calling our traction aids into duty while adding a fresh layer of pinstripes to our growing collection. With the route getting even tighter, I did something I've only done 3 or 4 times in all my years of overland trailering. I disconnected and left the trailer in a dry wash to continue the drive deeper into the heart of the desert. Well, this trail's not a trail anymore. It's just not traveled, so we're gonna disconnect the trailer, continue on
Looks like it gets progressively tighter, so yeah.
Continue on to our point without just scratching it all to pieces. Years of flash floods have nearly erased this trail from the landscape, which is truly a testament to how quickly the earth can reclaim our puny attempts to subdue it. This is it, huh? Not a quarter mile up the wash, it was clear our drive had come to an end, and it was time to engage the leather lockers and hoof it another mile or so up the valley.
Wake up to that sucker.
In the shadows of the Cold War, a marvel of engineering took to the skies, embodying the pinnacle of stealth and speed. The A-12, a precursor to the more well-known SR-71 Blackbird. Unknown to the outside world and designed to gather intelligence from the adversary using advanced cameras, speeds of over 2,200 miles per hour, and an almost indiscernible radar profile. Even if the A-12 was spotted, it would be gone long before the missiles showed up. On January 5th, 1967, one of these A-12s, known as 928, took off from the infamous and top-secret Area 51 with pilot Walter Ray, aka Dutch 45, strapped to the single-seat cockpit with 2 Pratt & Whitney J58 turbojet engines howling as the bird screamed over the desert. This routine sortie suddenly went wrong as the engines flamed out. 928 had run out of fuel due to a shortage during a scheduled refueling session. While he was aware of the situation, his attempts at fuel-saving maneuvers as he made his way back to base had fallen short, and he was faced with his only option: ejection. The advanced ejection system was designed to slow a pilot's descent from its 90,000-foot ceiling, then automatically clear them from the seat at 16,000 feet to deploy the primary parachute. But instead, Walter Ray remained stuck to the seat, presumably due to some questionable modifications, and tragically plummeted to his death here in the Nevada desert. Today, he is memorialized in the Book of Honor at CIA headquarters in Langley, Virginia, and here with this hand-built model of the A-12 and a collection of tributes in a nearby ammo can. It serves as a somber reminder of the sacrifices made by brave men and women who have served both publicly and in the dark shadows in secret service to our nation and its freedom.
Sometimes I feel like a criminal, feel like a castaway. This world keeps changing and I can't keep the pace. It's like a race I didn't know I was running, But there are some things like rudders in the storm, someone to keep you warm, a friend to raise a glass, to take off your mask, to tell the truth and just be you. Oh yeah, alright, trying to make sense of it all tonight. Oh no, here we go, this won't be the last time. Shouting and struggling and feeling like you're nothing, trying not to give in, not to take it on the chin, trying to wear your thickest set of skin. Music, it makes you feel good, makes you feel understood, like you're not alone, not a rolling stone, not the only one on the road. Oh yeah, alright, trying to make sense of it all tonight. Oh no, here we go, this won't be the last time. Oh yeah, alright, trying to make sense of it all tonight. Oh no, here we go, this won't be the last time.
As the sun set, we began to make our climb up and over a pass to hunt for camp on the other side of the mountain, hopefully before dark. But this climb got steeper and steeper the further we went, and we began to get stretches of soft mud mixed with rock and gravel, which made Silver put in some extra work to keep everything moving forward. Just before we reached the pass, a white blanket of snow greeted us, and we were reminded that winter was still very much alive and well up here, in spite of our balmy desert experience from the past few days.
Whew. Chilly. That is rough. Want to camp right here?
Yeah.
Climb in right now, right?
There you go.
Wow. Whew. That's a cold wind. Boy, that was a challenge getting up, and now going down in the snow. I might have to get Keith to tie a rope to the back of the trailer. Be my land anchor. What a view. Man, look at this place. Nevada.
Love it.
Nevada.
Love it.
Woo. After a quick look at the valley below, a gusty, ice-cold wind sent us on our way, and we carefully began to descend the opposite side of the mountain, hoping to find lower elevations and warmer temperatures one last time. But we ran into one thing we hadn't expected today: nasty, slick mud. Apparently, this area has seen a bit of a thaw today, and so the top layer of the road had turned to grease, which made progress difficult, even on the flat ground.
I don't know about it. Trailer, follow me over here.
They still say thing. This is slippery stuff right here.
Thankfully, it wasn't deep, but we quickly ditched the idea of making it to the valley for camp and began looking for the first accessible spot to get off the trail before we inadvertently ditched the whole convoy.
We are on flat ground and getting sideways. This is getting rough. It's only about 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of mud. But it's wicked. I know there's rocks there. Give me some rocks. Holy crap, dude.
Big, big, big.
Unfortunately, campsites were sparse along this section, and we were forced to take turns carrying speeds up the slippery hills and then easing back down until we could find a place to stop for the night. Finally, we spotted an area that would get us off the trail, and we were joined by 3 wild Mustangs that seemed to like this spot as much as we did.
If you kind of go up where I was, there's a big spot right there for you.
All right, so tonight was Thursday night, so I just got done doing the live premiere chat over here on the laptop. Keith found a camp. It's a stopgap measure. The roads were just getting so bad. We're going to camp here, let the roads freeze up, and then get up early and get out of here because we're just getting too sideways. And yeah, it's not going to end well, especially as we get closer to some inclines that we have coming up. So, quick and easy snacks for dinner and set an alarm and get up and get out of here first thing in the morning. But speaking of mud, yeah, that's the situation we got going here. I had to use the door to scrape the top off of that. So, fun times. All right. Well, this is my first time hanging out in here.
Pretty cool, huh?
I like it.
It's warm.
It's nice and toasty. Yeah.
That's right.
Very cool.
Not bad. It's all good. It's a work in progress. It probably will be for a while.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's half the fun.
That's absolutely. The station was over on the north side of that mountain. I figured we were just going up and over and coming back here. Not the prettiest, but it'll taste good.
Hey, for a night like tonight, that's perfect. All right. Let's see how Keith's skills are on the chicken quesadilla.
It's no Sarah, I'm sure, but you know.
That's good, man.
Good.
Morning. How'd you sleep?
Great, yeah.
Nice and toasty.
It is a crisp, brisk morning, and the ground is now stiff, which was the goal. So I don't think we'll have any problems getting out of here now. Let's roll.
There's mud on the roof of the camper.
Well, what a difference a few hours and a huge drop in temperatures makes. We were barely able to move on some of these flat areas, and now it's like pavement.
50 million times better.
Man, this is crazy. Big help.
Yeah, it's like, no big deal right now, but this afternoon, this will be a mess again.
We do our best to try and avoid the bad trails, the nasty trails, just so they don't get rutted up and abused. And now, granted, what we drove through was, it was literally only a half inch of mud, but it was so slick, so slick. So if you have time in your schedule and you can wait something like that out, or come up with a different strategy to, avoid putting yourself at risk and degrading the trails, do that. We were able to stop after about 1.5 miles, 2 miles of trying to fight, and just, say, hey, let's just pull over and let her freeze up. Anyhow, let's get out of here. On behalf of myself and Keith, thank you so much for riding along with us on this adventure through Nevada. This trip left us hungry for more of this incredible state, and we will definitely be returning to explore more of its beautiful landscape. Until next time, remember to stay curious, and as always, leave it better than you found it. And if you've really enjoyed this video, we would love for you to join our family of supporters on Patreon. Just head to lso.link/support for more details on how you can keep the Lifestyle Overland adventures rolling and get access to all kinds of behind-the-scenes bonuses. Patrons, you continue to amaze us with your support and encouragement. Thank you so much for all you do. We honestly would not be here without you.